Hi, it's Andy Davis here of HD Sails. Some people know me as Taxi out on the water. I've been sailing solos for nearly 20 years. So it was about 2002, I think, when I first stepped foot in a solo. The guy I used to work with at Speed Sails was called James Ward, and he was supposed to take on the solo, and that was his plan. But for whatever reason, I think he didn't go, and I got the nod effectively, and off I went down to Port Talbot for the Welsh Nationals, which was a great fun weekend, and that's kind of got hooked into sailing the solo. Then I think I came away with a second or a third to the mighty Bob Taylor, and I think it was Barry Green at the time. I mean, I came into sailing quite late. It wasn't until I was kind of 15 or 16 when I started to do a bit of club racing and things like that. So yeah, I didn't really have many heroes, but I suppose when I first started at Speed Sails, Richard Estow was a very talented sailor, and the same with Jim Hunt. I suppose those two had won numerous amounts of opens and nationals and world titles, and I suppose it was those two that I probably looked up to, and wanting to get to where they were. The highlights at Speeds were, I did quite a few years there sailing solos, and won many open meetings and inlands and nationals there, and had some great time. And we what was good was we set up the Speed Solo at the time, which is now the Winder Mark II. That was quite an interesting project, getting that up and running. We sold quite a lot of boats, and it's nice to see that still carrying on today with Winder. I think they're doing a fantastic job. Yeah, and I suppose winning my first solo champs was probably one of the the major highlights there. I think it probably comes down to slow boat tactics. Previously, I'd been sailing 49ers and international moths, and obviously they travel quite fast through the water, and the solo was probably the first slow boat for me to go sailing, and fleet racing, large fleet racing. So it was the first lessons you learn are how to handle your boat in a large fleet, and learning the angles of which the boat sails at, and also downwind, and the tactics are slightly very different to faster boats. So really, my early lessons were just trying to get my head around slow boat tactics, and making sure you're in the correct position on the race course and sailing the shortest distance, and really, I suppose is around marks. There's a lot to win and lose just going around a windward mark or jibe mark or a leeward mark. So it was making sure you got those right. Been using the Max cloth, which everyone's kind of seen, the gold Max Contender cloth, which is a purpose-built cross-cut laminate, and for us it's been very popular in terms of we've been able to produce a much fuller sail than what was previously out there, but also it wasn't as stable as the other sails that were there at the time, so you could flatten the sail off for upwind but it provided plenty of power for off-wind. So that's kind of one of the major developments we've had over the last few years. I suppose the introduction of carbon battens, getting those tailored to suit the sail, trying to get weight out of the sail, making the sail as light as we can, but also making the sail last as long as we can. And we've also been working on masts and kind of, really getting to understand and get our head around, what is required of the mast and what makes it quick. And I think we've started to pin down some key points in the last couple of years to what determines a fast mast. So yeah, those are a few little developments that we've been working on. I mean, we've also been working closely with Dave Winder over the years. Helped him out with just giving feedback on the development of the cockpit layout and the shaping of the decks. That you see on the Mark II and the Mark I Winder. We also did some work with Bloodaxe on fall development, and looking at that and going slightly narrower in foils and working on stiffnesses, and I think what's kind of come out of that is rudder position on the board on the boat has been important, and getting the angle right for there. So really we've just kind of worked on continuously working on the total package of the Solo. I think 2007. I mean, it was my first nationals win down at Paignton. And I suppose for me, Jim had returned, Jamie Lee was there. Jamie had been so dominant in the class on the previous years. So it was, it was a great honour to kind of beat those guys. I suppose that's where being on a slightly flat, shiftier course kind of suits me rather than the big open sea. But again, 2012 was such a good one as well, because Charlie and Matt Howard were there and they'd been so dominant, and I'd turned up really without much practice, not really giving it much thought for solos that year. I think I was looking at campaigning the Merlin a lot harder in 2012, as we just won the nationals the previous year. So the Solo was kind of a bit of a last minute decision, but again, it was nice to go there and take a nationals from those two, really. I think actually in 2012 there was one race which I'd had a really bad start, and I think it might have even been the penultimate race, because and I just needed to kind of get into the top 5, I think it was, to secure the win at Mounts Bay, and I was really down in the numbers. I had a bad start, bad first beat, but I just kind of pulled myself through, just didn't stop, and then just fought my way all the way through to, I think, maybe even second or third, and that was enough for me. I suppose that kind of. At Hayling Island, I think it was 2013, because we'd won the nationals in 2012, and then we went to Hayling to basically defend that. But all week, I suppose my head wasn't quite in it. I'd kind of committed to training for an Ironman triathlon that year, and I suppose I was probably more focused on that really more than anything. And I don't know, I probably started the week off fairly average. I just remember it being very light airs and very shifty, and really, really long start lines, and I kind of lost. I think I just lost a bit of respect for the race officer because he was letting some races go, and there was 30-degree shifts up the first beat, and the races were getting turned inside out, and then the races were carrying on. So yeah, I think that was probably the one that's kind of, I didn't really turn up for the week, and I think I ended up 8th overall. But pretty disappointing in terms of the way I approached the event and how it actually turned out. And I suppose that's, I can take a lot away from that. And when you turn up to regattas, it's it's very important that you've got you've done the practice beforehand and your head's in the right place to perform well. I remember it being fairly offshore and quite shifty all week actually, and that's not your typical Mounts Bay. Mounts Bay is quite well known for big rolling waves and just champagne sailing, but we never got that at all. It was all blowing off the land and ended up being quite a short chop, but not massively shifty, but there was some big shifts to be had, and so it was very close tactical all week. But I think we were doing gate starts that year for it was the first time the class had tried gate starts, and I quite liked the gate starts because it really did give everybody a fair start, and it kind of really came down to boat speed really that kind of got you out out ahead. So fantastic that the class has managed to attract 100 entries. It's going to be an exciting week. Looking forward to it.